Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
All right, we're excited to have Chris on Kiss My Assets again today. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Jamison, good. How are you?
Good. How's the Canadian holding up in the? We're 100, almost 100 today. We're supposed to hit 100.
I can tough it out for 1 or 2 days, but it's when it starts and this is 4 months of this. That's when it starts to grind a little bit.
You can't go back on your U.S. citizenship, though.
I'm a citizen now.
Yeah, I'm from Idaho, so kind of the same thing. You getting adjusted in the next few weeks, and it started to get warm. But the big thing that's really warm and a lot of things happening at Broadway. A lot of exciting things have happened after about 8 months of planning and coordinating, signing leases, getting the city behind us. We've had some exciting things happen the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I'll let you tell us a little bit of an update.
Yeah, we finally were able to demolish the 722 building, the small building on the eastern side of the property. So that makes room for the dual stack double lane drive-through for Dunkin Donuts. But more importantly, when you're actually on site and you're looking at it, the site looks way bigger, much cleaner. There's a lot more exposure, and across the street now, they're complete, those 330 multifamily units across the street. It used to just be a call center. So the whole site has a way different feel now than it did when we bought it 8 months ago. But it's just really exciting to see how the exposure has changed from the road too, because now the remaining building, the 764 building that Dunkin Donuts is going into, the vacant space there is that much more appealing, because now that you can really see, okay, there's going to be a line of sight for all this traffic coming down Broadway. It just makes it that much more appealing. And I mean, frankly, it just, when you're doing all this behind the scenes work and putting all this effort and time in, it's nice to actually see visual progress. That's the big step, is being able to actually touch and feel and see a before and after. You know, when you get a drive-through use permit, there's no before and after to look at. It's a huge hurdle and a great thing to get done. But, once you can actually smash a building down, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of adaptive reuse, where this site came available. We purchased it. And at the time, there were 3 existing buildings. The one tenant has stayed in place, Burger Rush. I ate there a few weeks ago with an investor. It was great burger, great shake. And onion rings are huge onion rings. So if anybody goes by there, you got to go to Burger Rush. And now the main building in the middle, which used to be, I think, a cigar shop at some point. Mm-hmm. There's probably some cannabis shop at some point. And then the small building on the end, which we originally were planning to keep when we first bought the building, was like a mattress shop or something. Mm-hmm. But as it came about, and as we began working with the city, and we got a lot of interest from really great tenants like Dunkin to move here. And to your point, Chris, the whole neighborhood's changing with the multifamily that's come in across the street. Beautiful building, 300 something units. And so Dunkin and other really high quality tenants were interested in coming in there. And as we started talking about that, it became clear we would need to remove that small building on the end to make room for a double lane drive-through. And you got the permit. That's all secured now. And then now taking that building out, I'm sure it's gratifying. There's some delayed gratification in this, is what I'm realizing, where it's 8 months in, but where we're at now is we're just starting to get some momentum to get this thing over the line.
And just so people understand too, so what cities look at and tenants will look at for these drive-thrus, they're really popular. I'm sure you've seen some around town that are so popular, the traffic starts backing up into the road. Cities do not like that. Tenants don't like that. I don't like that. So what the city's looking at and users are looking at is the dual stack drive-through. You see them at McDonald's, a lot of places where it's literally 2 lanes that can converge into one. And once our tenant and the city both said that's the only way we can fit on this site without backing cars down into Broadway, we're going to need 2 lanes. That's when we realized we were going to have to get rid of that building. But I mean, it makes total economic sense to take out this small little building that wasn't going to generate much revenue to get another drive-through on site. 'Cause Burger Rush already has a drive-through, but now we're adding an additional drive-through with Dunkin Donuts. And, that's something that brokers have reached out to me about, people in the commercial real estate world, that our property is so unique. For a smaller property to have 2 drive-throughs like that is really unique and really valuable.
Yeah, I go to Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A has had to take over the whole parking lot with cones and, over into the other pad, and they have parking there, and it's this whole thing. And so because those properties were designed pre-COVID,
right?
And now that we're post-COVID, people really love the drive-thrus, and so we're going to have a building that is thought through and engineered for our current environment, which a buyer who will ultimately sell this to a buyer who wants to generate good cash flow, a buyer is going to love the fact that this has been engineered under today's standards. City of Tempe is going to be super happy with it. We won't have people going into the road like you mentioned, and that's a challenge for places around Cane's, Salad and Go.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that building built, then it gets tough when there's not enough room to
Right.
bring people in. So we've thought that all through here, and I think that's going to help us a lot when we end up selling the building to the next buyer as well.
Yeah, I mean, drive-throughs are in huge demand. The vacancy rate, meaning the amount of buildings that are empty in our specifically Greater Phoenix market, the vacancy rate for drive-through buildings is about 0.5%.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's only because someone has left and the landlord's negotiating with multiple different users and just trying to get the best rate. Those buildings get snapped up incredibly quickly. There's not enough drive-throughs out there for the demand. So from a supply and demand standpoint, again, having 2 drive-throughs on this site is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's it's going to be an exciting next several months. Kind of tell us about some of the next big steps now. We have permits, we've demoed the building. So what comes next?
Sure. So we've finished the entire site demolition of the 722 building, as well as the interior demolition of the 764 building where Dunkin Donuts is going to go. And so the next step is going to be our general contractor will be going in to do the landlord's portion of the work, which is getting the building to a certain point at which a certain amount of construction and finish until the tenant comes in with their finishes. They have a separate general contractor that will do that for them. So the next step for us is going to be in the next couple of weeks. Our contractor begins their work full bore, getting into that site, which take 3 or 4 months likely to get that to a point where the tenant contractor can then take over, add in their equipment, their specific tile finishes, their paint, their signage, etc.
So Dunkin brings in their own contractor that knows how to build it out the way they like it.
Exactly. There's economies of scale for them. Our franchisee that we're dealing with has hundreds of locations, so they have a contractor that they use that can stamp these out fairly quickly. And so that's obviously the construction side of it. And now that the 722 building is no longer there and our site looks different, we're going to start pushing a little harder on leasing the remaining vacant space.
That third space, yep.
Correct. Yeah. So we have Burger Rush on the far west side in its standalone building, and then we have Dunkin Donuts on the western end cap of the 764 building. And right next to that, we've got about 2,300 square feet of vacant space. We haven't been pushing it very hard because, frankly, rents are going up. So if we would have signed a lease 6 months ago, it'd be less than we could sign one at today. And I mean, there's a little bit of temptation for that too. Let's get Dunkin to get a little bit further along in construction. Let's get the exterior facade done. Now that building's gone, you got better exposure to the road. So everything's heading in a positive direction for that vacancy for us. So we're still feel really confident that we can pick and choose and be pretty specific about who we want to get into that space.
So yeah, the next couple months, bringing in the general contractor. So we'll have some nice updates there as we build that out. And about the next 6 months or so, then we'll have Dunkin in the process of building out, maybe moved in at that point. Definitely by the end of the year, they would be moved in. And then a third tenant in that third one. That'll be exciting to see who ends up coming in there. And I have a friend that has a new startup restaurant. I'm going to try to pitch it. He does like Korean food in a bowl.
Okay.
And he was on Shark Tank a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to try to pitch him to see if he would want to go in there. I'll have to talk to you to see if he would fit. But it'll be exciting to bring that third tenant in. So we have some exciting things coming next couple months, and we'll look forward to bringing you back on here in 6 weeks or so and get another update.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All right.
Jamison.
Thanks.